So in this video, we are going to be going over how to get our Solana Anchor smart contract deployed to Devnet, as well as finally incorporating the fees into the smart contract functions that need them. Okay, so I don't think I really talked too much about this wallet before, like really settings in it, since we aren't really doing anything and we were just dropping money in it. But like if you were to go here into settings and developer settings and you turn on testnet mode, and for Solana you do Solana local net, and then you go back. I'm not really sure what the point of this is, because these values are from Devnet. It seems like it says this feature is not supported with Solana global net enabled. So it's like, what can you do? I know when I was testing Ethereum with the MetaMask and the hard hat, like going toward Arbitrum, that in local net you could still see the values and stuff, like everything that we dropped in. But yeah. Yeah, there's some other things. So like if we, well, I don't even have to copy it. I didn't really talk too much about commands either, but if we do Solana address, it gives us the, the wallet that we're using for all of the switches and what, like config id.json. I think that's the private key for it, right? Yeah, I think so. So config / Solana, yeah. Which, whatever, this is just for testing. Yeah, you could do Solana balance as well. Not that, Solana balance. And this actually won't work because we don't have the local test validity running. So, because we're still set to the local config, we'll have to switch over to the thing on the dev config. We run the command for that. But yeah, we're just looking at this to get an idea. So now on a balance, and too much, been too much. Yeah, I think when it rebuilds and stuff, it just drops more so into the main wallet. But you could also check other wallets on the slide local test validator. This one has 9.2. So yeah, you can, but this is for the local host, and you want to switch to Devnet. So there is a command. If I had already saved it. Okay, somewhere over here. All right. So if we do, I think, what is it? Solana config get. Solana config get. And this tells us we could use this command or the shorter command to set it to devnet. And now when we do a Solana config get, now it's on devnet. So now if I do Solana balance for the main, we can see 6 Sol, which is what the wallet is saying on Devnet. So you can go ahead and just switch to Devnet. And now we just need to really get our contracts deployed on Devnet, which, my gosh, when I discovered how much that really costs, it's like, eh. So as far as dropping Sol, apparently, like on Devnet, the most that you get Solana airdrop is like 2. If you try to do more than that, it doesn't work. And I think you can only do 2 like every hour or something. So if I try 5, it fails. I do Solana airdrop 2. That also failed. Well, that's just fucking great. Yeah. Well, anyway, so this is kind of part of a problem. It also matters how much it actually costs to deploy the contracts, which, yeah, I'm seeing that now, right? Okay, if we tried, it would tell us how much we were short, but I seen some Stack Overflows that gave some good information. Like there's this command with your program.so. This is like where the actual program is that you're deploying, and it looks at the size of that. And you can basically take that number and put it inside of this rent command, and that'll tell you how much it'll cost, really how much Sol it would cost. And then you can see how much of it costs to deploy the program. So we can quickly just do that just to get an idea. This is super important. We got this here, and I believe it's just chat, isn't it? Chat. So it's not that. But I need to move to CD, Linux repos, C chat. Now let me try it. Okay, so where's the target? Target deploy chat protocol.so. Protocol.so. And we get that number, and it's like Solana rent this number 3296536. And that's 22.94 Sol. When I had originally checked this, Sol was like $140 a piece. So that's kind of ridiculous, and I guess that just goes, uh, it just goes to show like how long a contract that's like 15,000 lines like this, how much that could cost. And there's some extra chats in there and stuff. For the sake of just checking how much self-lid costs, I could remove that. I can also see how much it costs to deploy the one that he did for the tutorial, right? It has just the post. It has no replies at all, let alone an M4A reply or a PLL reply or an about reply. If we eliminated the load menu chat, that would bring it down to 18 Sol or $2,566. So that's eliminating a chat. You could also eliminate a reply level as well. Okay, and if we eliminate an actual reply level, then it costs $2,068 or 14.56 Sol. So when we look at the contract that we wrote for the tutorial, it only cost us 2.14 Sol times $142 is $303.88. So that is way, way cheaper than any of the other contracts. But this one's just a comment with the parent ID. There's no reply account. There's no M4A comment or PLI comment or anything like that. But there's also no poll and no I don't think there's no CEO accounts that are being passed or anything like that as well. So other stuff, but yeah, you can see how much cheaper this is, being such a simpler contract. The one for the M4A protocol does not cost nearly as much, but that one is actually simpler in a lot of ways. So let's see. Give me this again, just to show the M4A underscore protocol. Do that Solana 1162800. And this one's only 8.09 Sol. How much is Solana actually running for right now? Solana. I thought it dipped down and most of went back up again. But yes, that is prohibitively expensive. So if it's 23 Sol, if it's only 8 Sol, like for the M3 protocol 8.09, 8.09 times $142 per Sol. That's $1,148 just to deploy the M4A protocol contract. Yeah, which is ridiculous. And 22.944 times 142 equals $3,250. Oh my gosh. Yes, that's ridiculous. So over $4,000 just to deploy the contract. So I could actually understand why developers would want upgradable contracts so that they, because it's my understanding that if you're just making an upgrade to it, you actually still basically have to have the same amount, but it gets refunded back to you. So you don't end up having to pay that again, but having to pay that every time you want to deploy deploy contract because it has upgrades. Yeah, but I did say that I would not have upgradable contracts and I will stick to that or whatever. So I would just have to turn a profit on the contracts and be damn sure that there are no bugs in them. No bugs in them before they're deployed and they have to be deployed properly because man, that is really fucking expensive, isn't it? Yes, it's expensive. So uh, wanted to get up to that. So now that we have that out of the way, in order to actually be able to, test on this, and they already switched back to Devnet, or we need Sol, like if we're going to deploy the contract to Devnet so that we can have our front end interact with Devnet instead of localhost, we need to have enough Sol to even be able to do that. And we also need USDC for the fees, right? So there are other faucets and stuff for getting Solana. Let me see, I have not this page. Okay, well, there's this one. This is for USDC. So Circle, which is owned by Coinbase, has a faucet on DevNet for getting USDC, and I think you can, can you use it every hour or something and get up to 10? I don't think I clicked the right thing. Okay, that's just the mint address of the USDC token. But here, so if we come here and put these links in the sources, we copy our Solana address. We want to do Solana DevNet, put this in here. We want more USDC. Send this 10. It's on its way. Get more tokens. Yeah, I'm not sure what the actual limit on that is, but let's see. We come to our wallet in DevNet. Yeah, now we have 20 instead of 10. But we also need Sol. And there is a faucet for that. What's that faucet? Quick Node, yeah. So Quick Node is a guide on a bunch of different places to get faucets, but this is not that guide. They have other guides. I'm just trying to keep all my links so that I can finally. I'll get rid of them once they're on the website. I just don't want to lose track of them. But I guess this was the one. So for Quick Node, they have like a bunch of methods for getting it. They mention the Solana client, and they say you can also do this, I guess, in the Solana client to actually drop to different clusters, right? You have to be running the Solana test val Solana test validator cluster, and like what a cluster is it's basically because like a blockchain in the big scheme of things is a bunch of computers. It's a distributed system, and these are nodes in the clusters. You have validators that are running, and they could be running on local you're collecting to that cluster of validators running, or testnet or devnet or mainnet, basically. Um, yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, there's so much other stuff that I don't talk about at all. But there's not enough time to go into too much detail. Yeah, you can airdrop that. We tried that way and it didn't work. They're talking about going into the Phantom wallet and making changes, connecting DevNet. Um, so there's this where you can do it with the JavaScript, and I actually have a test actually that does this in the M4A Protocol code, and mostly because it's like a customer coming in, basically just to simulate that That would be here. This is just another way you would just have to be connected to Devnet instead of local net when you run it. Token airdrop. You have this function request airdrop. So you have your connection that you set up. Um, yeah, like it's set up differently in the front end as opposed to here. But when you do the Solana config stuff, this gets changed. The connection gets changed. It would work just fine in this test, or should be anyway. And this is the LAM ports or Sol. Um, yeah, and that's basically it. And then you have to run confirm transaction. And I had to do this because it seemed like it wasn't working without this. But yeah, you can also solve that way, which I have not tried on Dove. Another way is QuickNote has a faucet that you could use, but for their faucet, you have to have a certain amount of SOL on mainnet on that address. And if you don't, it won't work. So we can't use that because it's just a test account. There's no real SOL on it on mainnet, so can't do that one. And then Solana has an official faucet as well, right? And this is the one that we're probably going to be using. So the thing about this one, right, you can go ahead and you can request an amount up to 5, I think twice, right? So you can get 10 every 8 hours. I think they changed this again. But the problem is like unlock a higher airdrop when you connect your GitHub account, right? Let me just go ahead and take this. I throw this in here. It's got some Cloudflare verification. And there's an error. GitHub authentication is required. So it's like, what's the point of this? You have to have the GitHub account anyway. And I was not going to make my GitHub account without my business email, which is why production came first. So that I get my business email, and then I could, actually make a GitHub order. But yeah. So now I need to create an account. Email. Didn't mean to hit the button, but had to figure out a username. FDR3 was taken, so I had to get a -3. But okay, verify account with a puzzle. This is like a capture. Then yeah, find the image that has a prize on the left, held by the claw in the machine on the right. That's a sandal. That's a truck. That's a guy. I found a plane, a boat. Not. Everyone's colored differently, but I guess. Okay, so do I not still have my thing open? Okay, back here, emails, mailboxes. What mail? GitHub watch code. Okay. Okay, Solana Web Faucet wants to access my account. Is that all I had to do? I wonder how much they'll give me, or how much you can get for having a GitHub account. Did it work? Okay, so there's not a larger amount. Fucking bullshit. So basically, I can only get 10 every 8 hours, and that's the most that I can get. I might have to try the JavaScript approach then. But maybe there's not a limit on that? Is that not controlled like by the Solana client teams? Oh my gosh. Okay, so if I put this in, we see on DevNet we only have 6 SOL at the moment. So let's see, does this work? It says there was an error. This didn't even work. Oh my gosh, you gotta be to. They don't want you to do any of this or get your soul right or nothing. Cause yeah, no, it's just no every time, no matter what. Unless they're trying to tell me that testing on local hosts is just as good as testing on Devnet. But yeah, I was just concerned about not directly working with USDC. I think that there's something that you could maybe substitute if you're not using the real USDC on local hosts. But yeah, I wanted to test as close to production as I could before we actually got to production. But yeah, no, this is looking more and more like whatever. Like, let's see, I still can't airdrop Solana airdrop to this guy. Okay, now I have 8 soul. That's almost enough for the M4A protocol. Not enough for nearly enough for the fucking draft protocol. Yeah, so that's where we are right now. Maybe look into the JavaScript method, which I have used just in a test to fund random wallets that are like visiting the website. But maybe I can just do it with the and can try running it with the CEO account and see and connect to Dev and see if that works. I guess. So I'm still connected to Dev. Maybe we can just try it. I will grab my while loop so we don't go. I think I should still have that at the end there too, right? My while with the wait. I figured I'd be using them in both. So if I grab this, and we'll put it right at the beginning when we run it. Oh, I guess we really have to just run it because we can't run any commands first because the contract's not deployed. But I guess we'll see what happens. Wanted to skip the validator. So where is none of those? Okay, this is not the first one. This is the first one. The first one's right here. Okay, so we'll just want to run forever and then basically don't call any of this stuff. And instead of doing that, not the first customer, but this one, the CEO. It should be this. And want to run forever. Let's see if this works. Because maybe this doesn't. Okay. Anchor cast. What do you do? That's a lot of soul, though, actually. No? Oh, actually, it's not even enough. You have to do all this other stuff as well to actually get it to work. Oh, no. Got to do this as well. We're not initializing anything, so let's try this again. Then let me just try this. It didn't complain or anything. And we should be connected to Dell so that I get anything. No, still. I mean, I had 8 soul before, unless that's not enough line ports. I'm not sure if it's, it's like this number, which is, and there's like a constant, I think, which gives you soul, which I don't know what the constant is. I wonder if I could also do this console.log just to see what the connection is, because I would hope that it would be. No, this is still a host. Oh, right a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Inside of here, we're supposed to change this to Devnet. And I think this is what changes the cluster to actually get it. There's still this, which I guess maybe this only gets used in local map, maybe. But anyway, I think that this will do it for us. Let's see. How it's trying to deploy is that what it's trying to do, and it wants the 8. Oh man, yeah, account. So before it will even run, it looks like it's trying to deploying cluster, deploying program. Yeah, it was. If you run anchor tests, it will try to deploy it. That's good to know. I had just under the amount where it would have done that. Well, what the fuck? Is it not possible to deploy it and to throw down some money? Because if I deploy it and it runs, and then that command doesn't work. Okay, well, let me think about this. Okay, let's just try to use Quick Notes Guide instead of running it in the tests like we were just doing. So you wanted to make another directory. I mean, I guess whatever. Let's just do it inside of our Linux repos. Or, mm, mm, whatever. We can just put it in there. Make directory airdrop underscore soul cd airdrop on her echo airdrop.js. Okay. I think that might already be installed, but let's see. Yarn and net y. Okay, and yarn at Solana. Solana slash short p.js. That one. Can't see none of that. And I want to pick something. Please choose a version. I guess this is the latest one. I hit enter. Press up and down. What? I guess this enter. The highest one. Oh, or they had npm, but I just used yarn. So let's see. Is there should be a new directory in here, right? So chat protocol, Linux repos, backups. I don't even. I got to refresh. It's like I don't even see. Oh, there it is. See nothing. So here's our airdrop.js. There's nothing in here. Okay, so we put this in here inside of our airdrop.js. They want us to put our wallet address as a string in here. It's out here. I guess let's shoot. Well, we'll try one soul first, and that's in this. I think this is all we had to. That's the only thing we had to replace, right? Okay. So now I just do node airdrop. Let's see if that works. Node airdrop. Nah. Node airdrop. Did that work? Can I find module WS? Module not found. So no, that did not quite work. Right here they said this yarn or npm. Open it, put this in this. And I CD'd in this directory, so I would have been calling it from there. I did everything it said as far as I could tell. Signature, this gets from here, while the rest gets set here. Yeah, I didn't even change that. So, no, 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 no. Is this man? So getting solo on Devnet seems like it's a little difficult at the moment. How do you want people to test and develop on it when you're making it so dang hard? Okay, one of the errors says cannot find module WS, so it seems like just a package they need to install. npm install WS. We'll try that, and hopefully that will fix the issue. Let's see. Node airdrop. Poster API is not a function. Okay, so it did not like this. It's calling it from here, which is supposed to. Okay, can't let me import. Can I just do this from this guy instead? Doesn't parse as common TypeScript. I see. So maybe they don't like this in JavaScript. Only in TypeScript, maybe? Okay, what if I did this? Uh, nah, it's not working. Let's see, what does this say? It's not what I wanted. Quick fix. Convert to ES module. Isn't this what I just, this is what I just did. And it's still complaining. It's not, and does not parse as common. Does not provide an export name default. So it's not default. We put these lines on it, and the error that it gave us then, still, that's still all it says. So I think I've seen this and used this before in my own stuff. I've definitely, maybe not here per se, but maybe in the front end, maybe their documentation is just out of date. Maybe we can just import all of those things individually instead of trying to do it the way that they are saying. So instead, just do it this way. And we have four of them. Three, four. We have, actually, now we only need one. We have connection, public key, this one, and this one. We try it this way. Now what? Doesn't provide. Haven't I could have sworn I've done the connection before. Connection. Sorry, here. Was it not spelled the same way? What's the difference? No, this is the same. I mean, why would I be able to use it here in the front end, but not be able to use it in the back end? Yeah, no, this looks exactly the same. And they're called the same. npm at Solana/web3.js. Oh, and is it better than Yarn? No. So yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why why it would work here but not there. Yeah, no idea. Yeah, I never got any errors like that. How is the connection being used? Where is it being? It's not even wait, but it's not even being used anywhere. Oh no, here it is. New connection. Cluster API URL, which is not quite what I did in the front. Oh, it is. I did have this and this commitment, and this is inside of a .vue file. Okay, so if we go to the front end and go to our install packages and node modules and at Solana and at Web3.js and look at the package.json, we can see that the version that we have installed on the front end is not quite the same version that we have installed in this new project directory that we made. So maybe we can try installing the same versions and see if that helps. npm uninstall at Solana/web3.js. Okay, so this is gone. So npm install at Solana/web3.js. So I think I just do at 1.98.2 rate. Okay, so not that way. Okay, I think it's because I had a space. Well, it didn't work. What the? And there's an extra space there. How the heck did that get there? Okay, so now we have the exact same version. You do, what was it? Make it list. Node airdrop. Oh, does that actually work this time? Let me see. Limited smart requesting airdrop. Transaction complete. So that looks like it worked. Same fucking. Trump, just ignore that. That's not important. So yes, it did go up. So now that we had something, let's see, can we do like 50? Let's see if maybe this will work. Unless they didn't say there was a limit. Too many requests. You either reach your airdrop limit for the day or the faucet has run dry. Okay, what is the limit? Is it the same? Is it the same where you get 5 and 5? Or is it what no limit? Like, how am I supposed to get enough on Devnet? It didn't seem like they said that there was a limit. I mean, I got one, unless one was the limit. Could cheat for one more, so this still didn't work. Yeah, now this is not that going well, so that didn't we're up to 9, so could deploy the M4A protocol contract for testing, but still need to test the fees, and that needs to be deployed to be tested. So maybe need to figure out how to test that locally first, get that working locally in some capacity, and then get enough to deploy it to dev and then test it. Sounds like maybe a better choice to do that. Okay, so I've done quite a bit of research, try to keep this brief, but let's just go for what I've learned. So I have everything that we should need for getting our USD fees in order. We have to do some more importing. We need the Anchor SPL, which is the Solana program library. Have to import this stuff. And we have some constants up here. You can probably see some of them are commented out. This one is for Devnet. So the way that coins and tokens work on blockchains, right? Solana is a coin and everything else is basically a token. And USDC is a token and has, a mint address. And this is, the address that you see to get the mint info and all this other stuff. And it's different on DevNet, and the mainnet is also different. So they have different mint addresses. Circle, which is owned by Coinbase, has an official dev one with this address. We have the mainnet address. For a local host, as far as that's concerned, you basically have to simulate it, right? You would have to simulate it, and you would have to basically create that mint, and then you can use it. Like once you create it and it's on the Solana test validator, as long as you don't reset the Solana test validator, it'll always be there. So that's fine. You could just put it in, right? Um, would definitely not recommend feeding in the mint address, right? Because the UI could have the right mint address, but someone who's not using the UI could start sending you like Trump meme coin or fucking gigatech or some bullshit. So yeah, I think it's important to have the proper mint address hard coded into the contract just to avoid that. But yeah, so we want to basically make one for the local host, but the problem with that, there's an issue, right? This is the SPL, like official website for Solana. They have like the client setup, or you could do it in JavaScript, right? Use the client just for commands. We tried running this, but this does not work. It gives some errors, some updated hash errors. So I can't use the client. It doesn't work. But anyway, once you have it installed, you would create a token, and this uses the same config as the Solana client does. So the wallet that is set up in the config.id or whatever, it would be using the same wallet and same. Oh yeah, there's some other stuff I haven't talked about, but yeah, that doesn't work. And also in JavaScript, when you do an npm install for this library, I guess I can just show that right now it's fine, but let me just go over that and just talk about proms. I just need to get to this is right here. Let me just uninstall it. npm uninstall that Solana /PO token. Okay, I guess that's because we're not in the right directory. CD Linux, because it's just in this project, this node modules in the chat protocol. CD chat, and now do uninstall that. Okay, so now it's gone. So let's do npm I, and we will reinstall it just to see the issues that come up. So there are some high, severity vulnerabilities. You can do an audit to see what they're about. Yeah, there's this buffer over the vulnerability, blah, 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 blah. So this has to do with some buffer overflow that attackers can exploit that would, cause the pre-application, which is, I like how a lot of attacks basically, so anyway, that's what that issue is. Not to say that that would necessarily be an issue, that this vulnerability isn't an issue for this project, because this is not front end. It's just in the test, and it's really just to make that account. It's something that an attacker would be calling, but um, anyway, you fix this. But yeah, there are breaking changes. What it does to fix it is that it takes a version, because right now the version is, it's not here, is 4.13. It takes it all the way down to 1.8. And basically this stuff breaks, and then you can't even use it. So if we do npm audit fix force, but I think as long as you're not actually using this on your, probably should be fine. But anyway, so this is broken. So basically, um, yeah, basically it's all broken. This is the JavaScript is broken and the client is broken. So that is what we would have used to make, a localhost Mint account to test it. This should say localhost, but yeah, we can't. So hopefully it'll be fixed sometime. It seems like official Solana stuff. So yeah, I need to get on that. So we can't do that. So we'll just have to test it on dev where, it's already minted and on, yeah, we test it on dev and then we can move to mainnet. So that's basically the plan. So to actually talk about how some of this stuff works, there's this import file in our cargo.toml here. There's some stuff we have to update. We have to also add this dependency for Anchor SPL, and the version should match the same as the Anchor language. Just ran into this when building the M4A Protocol contract. We need to also add this into the IDL. I forgot to mention that, so throwing that in here. Don't forget this as well under features, the IDL build. Add in this one for SPL. Aside from that, I did try using these configs and basically like features and stuff. But this was basically to try to set different versions of USDC Mint depending on what is added in the TOML file. So that's kind of here, basically. And it's as simple as adding it as that. And that's this is done during compile time. It's as simple as just adding that to the cargo.toml file. But this works for everything except for the seeds and stuff, and trying to on the accounts, not seeds. These aren't actually seeds, but trying to use this in the derived accounts does not work. I guess because it's looking for compile time and it's not soon enough, so that doesn't work. Or so that's why I just have it commented out, but wanted to keep it. I see. It seems like most other projects, when they use this, it's mostly just to change the declare ID. But since my program is not going to be upgradable in the end anyway, I mean, I'm not going to have the same program ID. If I do want to update stuff, it'll be completely different anyway. So, but I don't know. Sometimes I like to leave stuff commented out so that I know what it would have looked like if I need to ever use it again in the future. Yeah. So that's basically that for that explanation. Now, actually talking about how some of the stuff works. So we have our fees, right? We got our 4 cent fee, and our Dollar Trees and Dollar Tree cent fee. This is how it looks in Anchor, in Rust rather, with the underscore here. And I mean, yeah, you do this on the front end, but not so much here. But this is what 4 cents in USDC. USDC has 6 decimal places. Different tokens can have different amounts, but it has 6. Yeah, and these are what these values look like. Okay, aside from that, we have a function that we're going to call. It is outside of our program with all of this stuff, but a function that we're going to call to help us with the USDC fee that we're going to call, and it looks like this. So I got the syntax all worked out after a bunch of troubleshooting. So we'll basically be calling this from our other functions, and we'll feed in our accounts, our direct accounts into it. There's the from account, and these are really called ATAs. They're associated token account, basically. So the way that works, everything's an account, right? Everything is an account. It's an account that has like values on it. Even even the wallets, even the wallet is an account that's populated by Sol. When you call a function and you initialize an account, it's being populated with Sol. That's what makes the account exist. It's a certain amount of Sol so that it's rent exempt, basically, because if it wasn't enough Sol, that Sol would get eaten away and eventually the account wouldn't exist anymore. But you initialize it with enough Sol so that it's rent exempt. Just to vaguely go over that. But um yes. Now let's go back up there. But yeah, everything's an account. Like your wallet's an account. And for the associated token account, it's right here from the person that from the person that's receiving and the person that's sending. So the from would be the user, right? That's the person that's paying the fee. They would have their associated token account that has USDC. It has, I don't know what it necessarily is in that account, but it would definitely have the amount of USDC that that person has, right? But anyway, that's their account. And there's a two account, which is where the fees are going, their associated token account for USDC specifically. And now here we have the cross program invocation. So basically, the token stuff is from the token program, which we're feeding in the account from that. Like we have our program, right, which is this whole this lib.rust file basically, and we're basically invoking another program to call a function from it, which basically transfers the token basically. So that's what the cross program invocation is. If you wanted to like call functions from other programs, this is basically how you would do it. But that's basically what it's doing, and that's basically what the syntax is for this. Okay, and yeah, this is just a message, and we have the fee for the recipient USD. Right now, this is literally just it's just the Edge, the Edge wallet. But in the end, I mean, it still would most likely be a wallet because this is where the money would go, to earn interest to actually pay bills. And this is, the money that wouldn't be being spent, but it would still be going to earn interest, be loaned out basically. Yeah, aside from that, we have like this function here, and we would basically call this function in all of our functions. Right now, it's just being in every function that needs a fee anyway. Right now, it's just in the comment vote one for testing, and it's just being called down here, and it's just this basically. This question mark at the end is just to propagate up the OK that's inside of it. This one actually inside of the function. If there's an error, the error would propagate up from here into the function that called it. That way we could see the error, or if it was success, that would propagate. That's what this question mark is for. And we're basically just feeding in these accounts. And we have, yeah, those hard-coded values, and these are the associated token accounts that I mentioned before, just for USDC. And if we go to in the token program, yeah, so not our program, but the token program, feeding that. And if you go to here, and see what we have here, we have like the accounts that we added. So we have the user's USDC associated token account, and that is based on the mint address of USDC and the signer, right? The person's address, right? So everyone has their own associated account. I mean, it still needs to be initialized, right? Then this isn't to initialize that account. If you've never had USDC, it wouldn't be initialized. But if you did already have USDC, it would be initialized. But this is basically just deriving it that way. And for the fee recipient, still basically the same thing, but it has some different syntax for it. Have the fee recipient, this is actually their public address, actually. It's their public address, and it's associating the associated token account, right? Because they're not directly feeding in an associated token address. This is the public address for the wallet, and that is, you take that and combine it with the USDC mint address, and that gets the associated token account. Yeah, everything's an account. This USDC mint, this is the actual mint account, right? And this is the address is just USDC met, which varies based on being DevNet or mainnet. You could make your own and local at a local host if it was actually working, but none of that stuff seems to be working at the moment. And then there's a token program. We have our system program and a token program. But yeah, that is basically it. And you call that, and that would be enough to implement these fees for all of our functions, basically. But yeah, I can't really test it out on locals at the moment. It just has to be tested out on DevNet. Just needs to be added to everything and deployed and tested. Okay, so now I have the fee function applied to all of the function needs to be in the chat, as well as in the M4A protocol. So just to go over some of the differences, we have all our fees cents up here. I guess we have 1 cent, 3 cents, and 4 cents. So this is the first one, right? That's for the comment section vote. And the only thing different now is it would take the absolute value of the vote amount and multiplying it by the 4 cent fee. Haven't really done this at all in the tutorial, but if you're on the main website, you probably already know this is here, right? Because it's, it's 4 cents per vote, right? So it's, $4 for 100, blah, blah, blah. So we have the vote amount, and that's how we can take care of those fees. Same thing with, same thing with this as well, right? Works exactly the same, except we have to do it for all of our vote functions. That's why there's so many. There's 105 of these, right? So this is the update to username, right? That's to the study username, what's $3. Yeah, that probably is obvious to you, because yeah, you'd have to go all the way to the end of this to know that. Set a custom username flag. Just toggle your custom username off and on for 4 cents. $3 for posting a comment, right? You post comment, you post replies, or other replies are 4 cents. So you see why there's so many of these. So many of these got the post about comment, girl, and blah blah blah. If you're live, comment. And editing the comment, right, is 4 cents. So yeah, the only thing that I guess is kind of deletes the same. The only one that's worth noting is the vote. Let's get down to that. So the vote, how this gets different. Basically, like we could have just, I originally did have them inside of this if statement for if it's an upvote or not, but yeah, it was causing issues. So right now it compiles. If I were to take this, and yeah, it has to do with mutability. So I will just show you the error that it gives me so that you can see it. So this is the last thing that's worth mentioning. So I'll go to this is upvote, not just start in here. It's like I have an extra if block. And it's like, why do I have an extra if block? It seems like there are rules for aren't set to be mutable, and that was just the syntax that I got to work. But yeah, there's probably some other syntax that you could use to get it to work. Okay, this might take a bit. Okay, so we see, yeah, immutable borrow occurs. So basically, if we go up, here, it's 3320. 3320, it's talking about this mute that happens here. And then we're doing this inside of our is up at 3387. We're borrowing from accounts and doing this here, which isn't, it's immutable. It's not mutable because it doesn't have the mute on it, which I'm not sure if it has to, not yet. You would think it would, because I think it has when I actually deploy it. But anyway, and at 3442, it's complaining that it's basically, and we have that one, right? But it's complaining that at 3442, it gets set again. So basically, it just needs to happen at the end. So if I just move all that stuff at the bottom, there we go. We move all the stuff basically under all of this, and then it doesn't complain, but then you have the extra if block. That's basically it, and you have, since it's a vote, it's being multiplied by the vote amount. And if it's an upvote, the person that owns, you have the associated token account for the person who owns it, right? Because that is one of the things, right? 1 cent is sent to the original poster for each upvote they receive. So we can also send 1 penny, times the vote amount. That is what so yeah, they would, get a penny, a turd at a tree. They get a turd of a tree. Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's basically it. There's also the poll option, but didn't have them coming out at all. And yeah, the M4A protocol, there's only the fees for submitting, right? There's only the 4 cent fees. The fee for submitting to the claim, right? And the appeals. You can appeal as many times as you want. There's two different types of appeals, just because there's two different states that you can end up in. But yeah, it's 4 cents in either case. But yeah, and that is pretty much it. So now, if I was to build it again after I had moved it down, it should be fine. So really, the only thing really need to do is deploy to dev now that all the fees are in. And yeah, I will deploy the M4A protocol to dev first and test that one because it's much cheaper. After adding all the fees and stuff, right? These are some of the prices I was dealing with when Solana was 140. It's actually like $152 or something at the moment. But yeah, I think I talk about some things that seem like they weren't that important as far as like stat keeping and whatnot. Most of the stats are just on the comment section. There's still some other on the other accounts, but I cut it down. I got the price down, like under 23 SOL, and then after I added in all the fee accounts and stuff, it jumped back up. The M4A protocol contract did not jump up as much, but it's only in 3 places. But you have all those replies and edits and deletes, so you can get out of hand on the chat. But this should be it. They're still hooking up to margin fi and whatnot, but man, now this is still kind of crazy. So yeah, just actually deploy this one. Okay, need to wait for that to finish building. I'm gonna deploy the M4A protocol first. Thing's done. Okay, so now that's done, we'll make sure that we're set again to config set do dash URL is dev, so dash UD. Make sure we're set. Kill this validator. Okay, ready to deploy now. So one thing that I want to say is like when you set your environment to dev, if you run anchor test, it will it'll try to deploy the contract and it'll spend your soul. I've just been collecting this 2 SOL like every hour. It seems like the Solana CLI command line is the best way to get it. Nothing else works. It seems like you use that other script that gives you one. It seems like it interferes with this and this. So I don't know. Maybe they're all sort of connected. But anyway, yes, we need to deploy. So one thing that I was unsure about, like we build and then we deploy and then we can see our program ID and then we update it and build and deploy that again. But you actually do have your program ID immediately after you build. We can use this command. And this will show us the program ID that is in not in this one, target deploy in this key pair, which is, I guess, but if there's like a private key for the program, but I guess that's like a little different because it like belongs to Solana. It's not But anyway, yes, this is the program ID, like the actual current program ID. Not the chat one, but for M4A. That's what it is. So if we delete the target and redo it and check that again, then we would just update this first and then deploy. That way we wouldn't have to pay for it twice. Because we don't want to deploy twice. We don't have fucking money for that. So we're going to come here and delete the target. And we'll do an anchor build. We'll have to wait for this. Okay, so now that's on building. If we run that, oh, wrong one. That command, we should get a different program ID. So we put this in our contract, and we can put in the anchor file, but I think this is mostly for testing as well. In here, this is just like how what cluster is connected to when you're running your tests. You definitely verify that that works. Connect to Devnet when we run the tests, and yeah, that's for testing. So now, M4A Protocol, we got our thing. So now we should actually be able to deploy to Devnet. So we do, so let me see. Solana, campaign get, we're still connected to Dev, so we do anchor deploy. So now, go ahead and deploy in the Dev. Could have looked at the soul balance, but yeah, let's see. Yeah, like 37 soul. If it's like 8, so we have like 29 or something after we're done. I think it might be a little bit more. So now it deployed. And yeah, okay, so that works. Okay, so we do Solana balance. Yeah, but we got like 29. So now that it's deployed to dev, the only thing that we should, like, if we want to test it locally, we can run our, no, we don't have to run the local test validator. We do have to have the website running, which it is. We just have to connect it. Like if I refresh, there's no validator running, the stuff should disappear, right? But if I connect to dev, yeah, that stuff disappeared. But if I connect it to dev, it should work. Let's see if that was working properly. I think I had something in there in the what are we gonna contract? Let's see. In here, contract Solana. Let's see. No, not here. The workspace. Yes, this is for DevNet, and this is the local one. So, but if we switch it, you would think it would just work. I'll just try switching both of them and see if that works for us or not. So this is, man, where is this from? Was this also in here? I probably got rid of it. Hopefully. Makes sense for it to be where the connection's coming from. So since we have that list, I wonder if this is working. I must have lost some other stuff. Okay, I see that. But the protocol shouldn't be started. I shouldn't have the option to do that. Let me see. And come here. I mean, it seems like, did I not already refresh? I thought I did. Okay, so if I could go back, I could have sworn I had already refreshed. So the NIT, but you shouldn't be able to. It should say South Carolina beta hasn't started. But let's see what happens. And I wonder if I still have it set properly. I was curious to see what it was saying the price was. Oh, it's not even giving me the option to do anything. Had all those errors up there. Is that just trying to connect to something that's not there? Yeah, I rejected the request. Let's see. Huh, I come here and I refresh and that's different. There might be something else going on here. Okay, so what if I'm here and I refresh? Maybe there's some other connection thing. I think it still looks the same, doesn't it? Okay, no, this is like correct. So I wonder if it's still actually connecting to the what the hell? Hmm. I don't have a. Oh, you know what? Well, I did deploy this and I ran an anchor test, so it's possible that some of this stuff is actually already initialized, which would be interesting. So I guess I tried this and nothing happened. But no, it was listening. Oh wow, it has a price and stuff. Network fee. Wait, so which one is it? Okay, let's look at our soul. We've got 29.33644. This is to the initialize the protocol. I, oh, the fuck? Did I click too many times? Also, I guess it's actually working. Yeah, I think what happened was like I was connected to Dev and I ran anchor tests, so I think some of this stuff got initialized. That's like a one-time thing, so you really can't do that again with your test. It's rejected. So listening. Look at that. But I see nothing different. So, well, I mean, I guess it might have been, but let me see. They've got servers responding what we're trying after. And there's like all these delays and stuff. Like I seen this when I was running the test actually. Like there's a bunch of delays and stuff on dev. So I'm wondering if that's just an issue with dev and hopefully the main net isn't like that, but unless something else is wrong, but yeah, this a little concerning. So I will stop it here, get acquainted with some stuff and look around. That way I don't make this unnecessarily long. Add anything extra if I find it, and then we can end the video. Okay, so I see that it is working. It just seems like maybe there's too many requests at a given time sometimes, and there might be something that I can do about my research. But the most important thing, trying to actually submit this and get uh, a fee. So we would want to see Edge get its 4 cents in USDC, which it doesn't even have an account. So should probably say that it expected the account to exist, and maybe it doesn't. Let's see if we get that error, and then maybe go get some USDC. Yeah, fee recipient. No, wait a minute. Yes. Expect this account to be initialized, but it didn't work. So, okay, where's the USDC faucet? I should have had that ready. Is it this? Yes, it's this. So let's grab this. Go to Solana Devnet. If we do this, and if we get 10, that should get us right. Should hopefully be able to get 4 cents after that. Okay, so we got that. So now we call this again, see if this is actually working. If it is, that'd be really great. Oh, now what? Come on. Okay, so it looks like it's working. Also, before I forget, obviously you also want to update your IDL file. I forgot to. It's here. It takes this 0.0067 61, and just in case anyone's wondered what these prices are like, right? That's 0.006 Sol. That is equivalent to, it's like 1/10 of a penny, and then seven. It's less than a penny. It's these to actually the amount of Sol you need to call these contracts is extremely cheap, which is what I was going for. Was part of why I went with Solana, so that when users actually call the contracts, they're extremely cheap. So anyway, let's go ahead and do this and see if what does it say? What did I take too long? Felt podcast. Maybe I just took too long. Podcast not found. Try again. Okay, that worked. Now we just got to see if Edge gets pennies. Should have had the right men address. Oh yeah, the men address must. Oh, there it is. It worked. So that works. Awesome. So the fees are working. Awesome. Okay, cool. So I think there are some issues with how quickly it can grab stuff. Let's see. So I have a claim. Okay, there's a claim in there. But yeah, so I think that might need to be reworked, but at least that's working, and the fees are working. So that is awesome. That's awesome. Really, really close to getting done. So I feel more comfortable. I just have a bunch of testing to do, I guess. Cleaning up, obviously, on the main website. None of the SVGs are working. There are some other things that are broken that don't need to be fixed. But yeah, getting really, really close. Get past the Devnet testing and, yeah, get to production. Okay, so this is pretty important. Just wanted to throw in this information. You can see this wallet is not looking how it was before, where it showed the SOL amount. It has that generic 8, like it always showed in localhost. So there's something wrong. It says the declared program ID does not match the actual program ID. And the way that I got into this state is basically, right, we know we want to build it and get the program ID and replace it in here and then deploy it, right? We like if we're doing it from scratch, right? We delete the target, we build it, and then we run that command. This one, not that one. This one to get our program ID, which is a program ID up, yeah. And we want to replace it in our actual program lib.rs file. We can also replace it in the test file. I'm not sure if that matters as much as build it again so that the IDL file that's generated actually has it, because there's this keeper file, which is different, that has a program ID, and there's this one. But you basically have to build it twice. You build it once, replace these numbers, and build it again, and then it's safe to deploy. If you build it, replace these, and don't build it again, and deploy, you'll actually get an IDL file that has the old program ID, because you hadn't replaced it here. You build it the first time, it has the old program ID, and this IDL file has the old one. You actually get a different error. You'll come here and grab it, but this will still have old program ID because you didn't build it twice. You built it once with the old one. So if I come here, I see I had got this after I built it a second time, but it's already too late because I deployed it too soon. And this was the old one, so now if I refresh it, it's a slightly different error. And that error looks like this. The tentative program does not exist, which it doesn't, because that program was never deployed to dev. That was on localhost. So yeah, so I basically wasted 26 SOL on dev, and I'm gonna have to wait until I can deploy it again. That would like to say for me like 20 more. So yeah, yeah, very important, very good that I'm figuring out all these nuances in dev and not losing actual money. Because man, that would have been a lot of money to have wasted. So bottom line, you build once, replace this. You build once, grab the program ID with the command, replace it in the lib.rs file and the test file, build it again, and then deploy. You build twice and deploy. You do that, and you shouldn't lose any money. Okay, so one last quick important thing. As you'll recall, I deployed to dev not properly, didn't replace this and build again and deploy. So we can actually close the programs if they are upgradable, right? Because there's a command you can send to make them not upgradable. And you might be able to deploy them as not upgradable, but yeah, if they're upgradable, then you can close the program and get the money back, basically. And we have our two program IDs, which are really the older ones. So if we try this, well, I guess before we do that, let's do a Solana balance. Since we have 27 Sol, because both of these say the same thing as far as the balance of Sol, and I guess this is not the amount of Sol that it's taking up, because one's 8 and one's 27. These are, we're near that, but let's go ahead and try it. Now we try running this. It can never be invoked again. Rerun the close command with the bypass warning flag. Side task. Warning. Okay, yeah, that one got back eight souls. So yeah, no, that is working on program close. And we need the other one, which is this one for the chats, which is where the most of it was. Bypass warning. So now we should have a ridiculous amount of soul. Yeah, I got back 26 soul. So if we were ever to deploy improperly on prod, there is a way to get your soul back. That's very important. Good to know. So on a balance. That was up to 62. So yeah, I thought that was extremely important, and that'll be good to know for production. Okay, so I will see you in the next video.